Hey, Talia here, and today on I Got Back Up, I'm joined by Steve Judge. I'm going to start with a word resilience. What does resilience mean to you? Is it something you understand or something you battle deeply with? How about the phrase, the wave of resilience? Steve is an award winning motivational speaker, author, and coach, and today he shares his journey that took him from wheelchair to world champion. So, Steve, when you hear the phrase I got back up, what do you think?
When I got back up. So the first thing that jumps to my mind is the Japanese proverb, which is something like fall down seven, stand up eight. It's very much about resilience, that is. And resilience, I think, is the buzzword as well. That came famous in the pandemic, didn't it? Everybody was talking about resilience. And I remember when people were talking about we need resilience, and then the people were saying, what is resilience? And I was like, oh, that's a good question. And I thought I know what the answer is because I've been because of my journey, which we'll go through in a bit, of going from wheelchair to world champion and beyond. Um, I know what resilience is. I've used it a lot, and I still use it every single day. And so I put this concept together, which I'd just like to share with you about getting back up, and that is called riding the wave of resilience to become a winner. And what it is the concept, it explains about what resilience is and it explains about how you can get back up because it's not always easy just to pick yourself back up and brush yourself down and move on. I know a lot of people say that, and a lot of people say, yeah, but how? How do I do that? And so this is the answer that I've come up with. And it works for me. So let me get on with it. So you have a situation, something happens, adversity, let's call it, and you go into shock. Now, when your body goes into shock, when I say that, it's like a fight or flight, and that's when the cortisol kicks in, and your blood will rush, and you'll be there to save yourself, and immediately your testosterone will kick in straight after that, in denial. You'll go, surely this can't be happening. I can't believe this. I think we all did this with the pandemic, and we've done this sometimes in an accident to go, oh, I don't think it's that bad. It's not that bad, is it? You try and rub it off and stuff like that. So the testosterone kicks in. The testosterone and the cortisol then mixed together will bring you then down into reality, and that the mixture will make you angry with what's going on, with the accident, with the adversity, with the change. Sometimes you'll be angry. Now when I say you're angry, what you need to do is you do something about it. Now a lot of us just quash it down and go, I'm not angry, I'm fine, and that means that it's festering. So by letting yourself be angry in a controlled way is a good thing to do. So this could be sport, it could be going to the gym, it could be screaming out loud, it could be having a pillow fight, it could be doing some gardening, something physical, but do something to get that anger out, and that will help you in the repercussion. Now you're still coming down. You'll have the oxytocin will then kick in after that, and that's the sharing. You need to start sharing what's going on with you. Again, if you don't, you will fester. And we were talking about this before we pressed the live button about, what I've been struggling with in the last month that I've not been sharing. And I talk about you need to share, and I've not been doing it. So sharing is very important. And that's to somebody that you trust, a coach, a therapist. But it could be sometimes people don't like to talk to other people, but it could be your friends, your family. It could be to yourself, a journal. Maybe it's about reading poetry or listening to music or watching a film, but do something to share what you're going through and get it out of your system. Now, you're down at the bottom of the wave of resilience, and that is rock bottom, and that's a dark place. And this is when all your emotions are mixed up. And this could be just sulking, or it could be something harder like depression. But either way, it's a dark place, and how long you stay in that dark place depends on how you've controlled the anger and the sharing. So you come through the dark place, the rock bottom, and then the next bit is acceptance. Now, acceptance is a great bit because once you accept the situation, you can do something about it, and that means taking action. Now, once you take action, you get a serotonin release, which makes you feel really good, and so you keep doing it, and you're doing it, you're moving forward. So now you're coming up, so this is good, the wave of resilience. As you're doing it, you're getting a dopamine release as well, so that encourages you to do more, take more action, move forward, and then eventually you'll get to a higher plane than where you started. Now that's saying that, and you're going all the way down and then up, means that if you control your resilience, if you control the change, the adversity, correctly by using the wave of resilience, you can actually end up higher than where you started, meaning all of that is a good thing if you do it correctly. So that is the wave of resilience concept, and that to me, I think about when you think about getting back up. How do you get back up? Get knocked down 7 times, pick yourself up 8 times. It's not that easy. You have to go through the whole wave of resilience, tick all the boxes, do everything, and then it will work out. And sometimes you skip it. And sometimes you go, do you know what? I'm all right. I can just brush myself off. You're kidding yourself because it will catch up with you later, whether you like it or not. And so it's about doing it properly and understanding that and explaining that to other people. So there you go, a long-winded answer for you, Talia.
You know what? That has got to be one of the best definitions of resilience I have ever heard. And you actually, I think at the very beginning, you said not a lot of people actually know what resilience is. And
No,
that is the most amazing definition because it highlighted every single factor someone goes through, all the way down to anger. When you were talking about anger, I was like, oh yeah, I've had that, and then when you get to rock bottom, and then the first step from rock bottom, and one of the hardest things to do in the world is accept something.
yeah,
Acceptance is one of the hardest things in the entire world, I think. It's different for everyone, but I think that. And then you're right, it's a constant wave. It's not resilience isn't just a cool, I got through that, great, I'm going to be smooth sailing for the rest of my life. No, it's a constant wave. Like people say with regards to life in general, you reach the one mountaintop, great, you're going to go down and you're going to go to the next mountaintop.
yeah.
And you do. I really like the part, before we even get onto your story, I really like the part where you highlighted that. um I really like the part where you highlighted about when you're talking about when it came to different parts of, it comes and it goes and it comes and it goes. And I think the acceptance part is so big, and I think that that's something that definitely more people need to think about and to understand a lot more. And when it comes to then all of that, with all of that in mind, we are now going to go into your story because I feel like there's a lot. It kind of encapsulates everything you just said, your story. So it is over to you to start wherever you feel most resonates with who you are today.
Okay. Well, let's get straight into it. I mean, I could start in my childhood, that would go back a while, but let's go straight to the adversity. We'll talk about the wave of resilience, the thing that happened to me, and that was a near fatal car accident in 2002. Driving on the outskirts of Sheffield, rain on the road, lost control. Nobody else on the road. I wasn't speeding. My car lost control. I skidded, crashed into a pole, bent the car in half, and I blacked out. And everybody came to save me, the police, the ambulance, the paramedics, the fire brigade. And it took them about an hour and a half to cut the car apart piece by piece, eventually reaching in and grabbing me and pulling me out of the car along with what was left of my legs. Now, they mercy dashed me to the nearest hospital in Sheffield. I went through emergency procedures and saw the surgeon. And just before I went into the operating theatre, he looked at my legs. He said, "Okay, Mr. Judge, we're going to do our best, but just be aware that we may have to amputate your right leg." And these aren't words that thought I'd hear that day. And I remember just saying, just be the best that you can be. Just please, just do whatever you can. He said, "Okay, Mr. Judge, we'll do that." And off they went and took me into the operating theatre, but to save my legs. But I later out found that they lied to me that day because it wasn't just my legs that they were trying to save, it was my life. They really didn't know if I was going to come out of that operating theatre alive or dead. And that was the message that was relayed to my family, to my mum, my dad, my brother, my sister. No, they didn't know whether they're going to see their younger brother, their younger son ever again. Now, the operation lasted about 8.5 hours. When I came round, I felt terrible. I felt groggy, really, and a lot of pain. And it was around this time when the surgeon was doing his round. He came over to my bed. He said, "How are you feeling?" So I expressed how I was feeling in a really bad way. And he said, "Okay, I understand that, Mr. Judge, but I just wanted to let you know that we did do our best. We did manage to save both of your legs, but I'm afraid with the severity of the injuries that you sustained, there's a chance that you may never walk again." And and when I think about that, and I guess relating to the wave of resilience, that's when I went into denial. Um, because there's two ways you can look at it: fight or flight. And I could have just rolled over in bed and gone, "Okay, I guess I'll never walk again. That's it. I'll listen to the surgeon." But something inside me was really angry. really angry that somebody had the audacity to say that to me. They didn't even know who I was. They just like fixed my legs to the best of their ability. Surely that's potential. Surely I have a good chance of standing again, of walking again. And it was really I was really angry that they'd said that I wouldn't be able to. It kind of triggered something inside me. I hate being told what I can and can't do. It's like a red rag to a bull, and I'm sure there's other people like that as well. And when it comes down to your health and your body and the physical things that we take for granted, it really triggered something inside me, and so I wanted to like prove them wrong. And I guess this is the fight, isn't it? And so yeah, so the way resilience, I'd had the change, I'd had the denial, surely this can't be happening, and it was happening. And then I'd had the anger, and then I guess the next bit is the sharing. And I struggled with that, in hospital, going through what I was going through, doing the rehabilitation, doing a whole of the physio. And yeah, I went through many, many dark places. I always like breeze through it when I'm talking as a global speaker about my accident and the rehabilitation, because it's about like 2 years worth. But there's a lot of dark periods in that when I had a lot of tears, a lot of pain that I've subjected to myself. To cut a long story short, my left leg was wrenched apart at the knee, and my right leg was partially amputated, meaning 4 inches, about 4 inches was knocked out. And so my foot was up and my leg was shorter, held together the big metal cage. It was my responsibility to twist the cage, the nuts and bolts in the cage, day after day after day, to slowly stretch the skin and the muscle and the bone to get it to the right length. And then I had to grow that bone back. So this is now flipping over to a bit of accepting the situation. Because once I accepted the situation that I was in, I could do something about it. And to me, that was physio, that was rehabilitation, that was twisting those nuts and bolts. If I'd just been in denial, then I'd just be putting my head in the pillow going, there's nothing I can do. But I was ready to take action. And as I was taking action, I could see the progress very slow. I could see my leg getting longer. I could stand it up a little bit. I could start walking on crutches a little bit, away from the wheelchair. And that did release serotonin, it did release dopamine. Then I'd probably be back to anger. Then I'd be going through sharing. Then I'd be really low again because I wasn't exactly where I wanted to be. So you're right, Talia, about talking about it just goes round and round sometimes. But you still got to admit where you are. I'm angry now. I need to be angry. I need to share more. I'm in a low place now. I don't know how long I'm going to be here for. I'm just going to sulk for a couple of days. And doing all of that, eventually, after a couple of years, I grew my leg back. My left knee got sorted with new ligaments from a pig in my knee. I don't ask too many questions, to be honest. But I was able to stand again and walk again. And that was my goal. My goal was very much to get back to where I was, to get back to normal. However, I did realize at that stage that there was no such thing as normal. I wasn't the same as what I used to be. And this is a big message that I pass out to people, that there's no such thing as normal. To stop comparing yourself to other people, to your friends, to your family, to your work colleagues, to celebrities. Everybody's different. And I had to start thinking about what I could do rather than what I couldn't do. I now had kind of disability in both my legs, with lack of feeling, lack of movement, lots of pain, lack of feeling. And so it was a new concept for me, a new way of life, and setting new goals for myself of where I was going to go, physically as well as mentally, about where I wanted to go on my journey. So I guess that's the start of my journey.
There's quite a few different things I want to touch on actually from that. And the first bit is talking about how it's comparison. So first of all, it's comparison to everyone else in your journey. And I think the mistake that so many humans, myself included, have done many times in the past, and still sometimes do, because again, I'm human, is comparison to anybody that it might be on their journey. And their journey, even if it's a similar physical or work, or even if it's a similar in certain aspects, is still a very different journey, because you're two completely different people. You are unique to who you are. They are unique to who they are. And they've been through what they've been through, and they're, going through what they're going through still. And you've been through what you've been through, and you're going through whatever you're going through. And just because someone might be in a similar but dissimilar place, I think it's so important for human beings to, I still have to tell myself, but to stop comparing, because like you said it, we all do it, and we all fall victim to ourselves, because we are, as much as we are our own best friend, we are our own worst enemy. But then, not just talking about the comparison, I think also when you mentioned about how we were talking about the cycle, and how you can get through one cycle and then you feel something the next day or month or week, and and feeling those emotions. It's waking up and thinking, okay, if you're anxious today or sad or angry or one of the, let's say in inverted commas, negative emotions, try not to always push them away, is what I've been taught and what I've learned is, okay, we don't want to feel them. I get that. None of us want to feel them, but sometimes we just have to feel them and we have to accept them and we have to get on with our day, however they're feeling, and even try not to push them away. Sometimes we actually do just need to feel the sadness, the anger, the hurt, the tears. Sometimes we just need to feel it. I once saw, I saw, it's actually in a book that I have read or haven't finished yet, but I have started reading. And I don't quote me exactly on the exact quote. And this is where it's going to be really annoying because I'm not going to get it correct. But it said something along the lines of, this is where I should know it. It said, I read it a while ago. It said something along the lines of, emotions aren't negative or positive. Emotions actually aren't negative or positive. It's actually how you perceive said emotion and how you believe kind of said emotion and your interpretation of it. That's not exactly the quote, but that's kind of a similar way of how it was. And it made me really think about, well, you know, some things in life that might make you sad or make you anxious might not make me sad, might not make me anxious, but some things in my life that might make me angry or sad won't make you angry or sad. And that's the thing, it's not putting something on the emotion, the negative or positive. It's how you interpret it, how you feel it, how you know, how you think about it. So that's something also interesting with regards to emotions. But then just moving forward now, obviously I want to hear what kind of the next steps in your journey, but what exactly did you do to your legs? What was the, you know, if there was an exact diagnosis, let's say, what exactly did you do?
So I don't know exact because I'm not a surgeon or anything, but my right leg was partially amputated, is what they say. So the bone got knocked out and then the leg got shoved together. And then I had to stretch it out and grow it back again, leaving my ankle kind of pretty much fixed. I've got a fixed ankle and the skin's really sensitive. But that's all below the knee. My left leg, the ligaments got ripped out. That's what happened to it, and they got replaced. But because of that, there was nerve damage in my left leg, so I've got lack of feeling, lack of movement. I've got a drop foot in my left leg. So people sometimes say, which is your good leg? I'm like, well, both of them are bad. Without being too negative, you know, the left leg can't do that. I can hop on my left leg if that's something. My right leg I cannot hop. But the thing is, I can stand, and that's, you know, when I got to that stage, you know, I guess I was gutted that that's all I could do. But what was important for me is the journey that I'd been through. I had no regrets. And that's what's important about when you go on a journey. I had no regrets. I didn't say, oh, I'd wish I'd done more physio. I wish I'd done more rehabilitation. I'd wish I'd done everything. I'd done absolutely everything that everybody told me to do. I'd even done acupuncture and anything, and went and saw a private physio, anything that I could do. So the result is the result at the end of the day. And that's what's so important. And that's what I've learned through my journey, that it's all about having a goal, go towards the goal. But we can't all win these things. We can't always get second or third or even fourth place. But if you cross that finish line, if you get that result and you've got no regrets, then that is the thing. If you don't get the interview, you know, you don't get the job, but you say, well, I did everything. I did all my research. I wore the right suit. I did my hair. I answered the questions correctly. No regrets. Maybe that job wasn't for me because I've got no regrets. Now, the opposite of that is the people that do have regrets. And I had this in the start line of some competitions where I heard other athletes saying, God, I wish I'd done some more training. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You can't say that now because it's too late. We're at the start line. You can't say, I wish I'd done more training. It's like people going into exams. They say, I wish I'd done more revision. You muppet. It's too late. Now, if you said that 3 months before, you could do something about it and revise, and blitz it and do it so that you get to that exam and you go, bring it on. I can't have done any more. I'm so prepared mentally, physically. I've done the revision. I've got my pencil case and my favorite pen and everything. I'm ready for this. And that's what you need to be with everything that you do. And that is exhausting and it is difficult, but that's the challenge. And if you're not doing that, then that's bad for you, because it's about asking yourself, what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do so that I've got no regrets at the end of it? And I'm not talking about just the projects and the goals. We can even talk about life as well. getting to the end of your days and asking yourself any regrets. And my goal is to get to the end of my days and go, wow, what a rush. No regrets. I've done so much in my life. Um, but you do get a lot of people that say that they've heard stories, they get to the end of the days and they say, I regret not going on more holidays or not spending time with the family or the friends or working in a job that I didn't like. And I regret that. And I just think it's too late. That's really bad on you. But surely you can see that coming. And if you're thinking that now, then do something about it now rather than just having regrets. Because some people actually plan to have regrets at the end of their life. You think, that's crazy. You're planning to regret what you're not doing now. Do something now. Do something to change that, to have that happiness, fulfillment of your life, because that's what life is all about.
Yeah, and in a way, it's almost like exhausting all your options. And I liked when you especially said about when you were talking about if you don't get the job or the whatever it might be, whether it's the job, whether it's the date, the guy, the girl, whoever that you're into, whatever it might be. I think if you try everything you possibly can, exhaust all your options, so you can then, if it doesn't work out for you, however, whatever it is that you want, if it hasn't worked out for you, you can walk away with your head held high and go, I did
Yeah.
everything I could do.
Yeah.
I did everything I could possibly do, and it still didn't happen. Well, then if it still didn't happen, it either isn't for you right now and might be in the future, or it's just not for you at all, and something else, something better is on its way.
Yep. Yeah, and people say to me, when do you quit? If you keep trying after like years, 5 years, 10 years, and you still can't achieve that thing that you want, I'm like, well, that's a different thing. It depends on what the situation is. But if you are literally doing the no regrets, then sometimes maybe that thing isn't for you. I mean, enjoy the journey. And if you're enjoying the journey, then that's a bonus as well. But if you're not enjoying the journey and you're not achieving, then maybe you do need to reconsider what you're going towards, and maybe you're going for the wrong thing. And that's really hard to say, because I believe that, if you're really passionate about it, then you should go for it. But it does come a time when you do have to take a step back and reconsider it. And sometimes you need other people's advice. You need, I call them your golden gang, the people that can help you to achieve the things that you need. So you have to ask yourself questions all the time. But yeah, absolutely, always go for the thing that you do want, that you're passionate about, 'cause that's what you live for.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. No matter how far out of reach you think it might be or how big a dream it might be,
Mm.
100% you've got to go for it. So, with all of this in mind, kind of what happened next on your journey?
Right, yes. So the story. So I'm standing again, walking away again.
Mhm.
I wanted to set myself more physical goals. I wanted to be honest, I had a grudge. I wanted to prove that the accident hadn't had a detrimental effect on my life. So I was going to prove the accident wrong. So I started doing physical things. I thought about what I could do rather than what I couldn't do. I went into swimming, did a bit of swimming. So how old am I? About 37 years old. Did some swimming, did some cycling, looking for a new challenge, found this thing called triathlon, swimming, cycling, and running. I couldn't run at the time, but I thought, now I've got a goal. I found this thing called a para triathlon, so triathlon for disabled people. I thought, well, I wonder if I'm disabled. I don't know. I've got, my legs don't work very well, but I don't know if I'm disabled. I went for an assessment. They checked me out. They gave me lots of exercises to do. And at the end of it, they said, Mr. Judge, you are disabled. And I'm like, yes, this is great, because now I can compete as a disabled athlete. So it's about seeing the positive there. And so I registered for this disability triathlon, para triathlon, went down to it. So I trained for it for 6 months, started running again, which was a mindset thing. I was in so much pain. I didn't feel the pain when I was running, and my brain knew what to do, but my legs couldn't quite keep up. But I was running again after 7.5 years. Running had been stolen from me. So to get it back after 7.5 years was just like amazing, just something that I really loved. I always loved it as a kid and everything. So did all the training, ended the triathlon, the swim, the bike, the run. Cut long story short, crossed the finish line as the winner in my category. And not only that, it was the British Championship. So I became British champion, and that was in 2009. So an amazing accolade to go from wheelchair to British champion. I was so happy and elated, but also I was very emotional for everything that I'd been through, everything that I'd been dragged through or dragged myself through, the rehabilitation, the physio, the pain that I put myself through, the mentality, but also the, now training as an athlete, the swimming, the cycling, the running, the hard training sessions that I put myself through to cross that finish line, to get that gold medal. it was just an amazing feeling. Because it was the British Championships, one of the officials came up to me and said, "Mr. Judge, congratulations, you're British champion. Would you like to represent Great Britain?" And I'm like, hell yeah, I would love to represent Great Britain. So I guess the message here is that there's opportunities around us all the time, but you've got to see them, you gotta smell them, you gotta, hear them, and you've got to do something about it. You've got to grab hold of them with both hands and take action. And that's what I did. And over the next couple of years, I set my goals to become European champion, which I achieved in 2011. Set my goal to become world champion, which I did in 2011. Went out to Beijing, China. Now competing against the rest of the world, representing Great Britain, wearing the kit. That's an amazing feeling, wearing the GB kit. And then competing and crossing the finish line, grabbing that gold medal, and standing on that podium when you hear the national anthem being played and your flag being raised, your country's flag being raised for you, for all that effort that you've been through. It's very emotional, and you're smiling, and you've got a tear coming down, and you're smiling. You think this is such a strange mix of emotions, but yeah, what a journey. And I did carry on after that, but we can stop there. As world champion, it's just an amazing accolade for all the hard work that I put in to achieve.
But that's the thing, it's all the hard work, isn't it? And it's every training session that you did, every new milestone that you hit that you probably never thought in your life you were gonna ever achieve, especially after being told that you might never walk again. And then it's for everything that you did for the first time again afterwards, things that you'd never done before. It's like, wow, I can keep putting my body, my mind, and my soul through this. And I think that's what people don't always kind of add up, is that, you hear a lot of people say, especially when they're running, a lot of people say, I could never run 10K, I could never run a half marathon, I could never run a full marathon. And that's what they think physically, because at some point, even when you're training, your body will say, no, we're done. But it's the mind. If you can keep telling your mind, I understand, let me just say, obviously, I do understand in some circumstances, some bodies can't, actual bodies, some people's bodies cannot. And I completely understand that, and I respect that. But a lot of the time, it's the mind actually that's saying that you can't. The body might go, oh, we're tired now, my legs are hurting or whatever's hurting, but it's the mind that's saying, I'm tired. If you then tell your mind, I'm tired, but I'm going to go for that, next 2 more kilometers, or I'm going to go for 5 more minutes, you start to teach yourself, wow, I can get through these. This is just an example, but I can get through these little tasks that, not so little, but I can get through these tasks. I can get through these things that I didn't think I could. What can I do next? And that's kind of when, when you're standing on that podium and you're becoming that champion, you can look back and think all those little things that I thought maybe once upon a time I couldn't do, or I struggled through when I was training and I was able to do, and then I tried something new the next day or the next week, has got me to exactly where I am today. And that actually takes us back to what we were saying before about, when do you give up? When and obviously I know you had your sights set on what you wanted, but at what point do you give up? Because I'm pretty sure when it came to training, there were days when all you wanted to do was not leave your bed.
Yeah.
I honestly, I understand that. So where is the stage when you just don't give up? I don't know the answer to that, because it's different for everybody. But you are an example of showing not giving up. And also when you're told one thing, but almost saying, okay, well, I've been told I might never walk again. I've had this accident, but I'm now going to prove to myself just what I'm capable of doing.
So let me I'm just trying to think about the times when I felt like giving up, because that's kind of what we're talking about. And if we go through rehabilitation, it's when the pain was too much. There was a time, a year anniversary, when I actually went backwards, as in I'd got out of the wheelchair, I was on crutches, then I had to get my legs straightened. So I had a double cage on and I was back in the wheelchair, and I got made redundant, and I went into depression, I would say. I was in tears for like 4 days. I couldn't stop crying. I gave up. At that point, I gave up. But if you think about the wave of resilience, I was in that low place. I was in the rock bottom, and after 4 days, I didn't like where I was. Now I'm always talking about having a vision, having a goal, and working towards that. But sometimes when things are really bad, just being aware of where you are and not wanting to be where you are, that's what you need. And you do something to not be where you are. And that's what I did. The next day I had a shave. The next day I had a wash. The next day I did a bit of physio. The next day I did more physio. And day by day I started making a move, small steps. So that's one situation I can think of when I felt like quitting. As an elite athlete, um, If I think about it, there's lots of times, like you mentioned the early mornings. God, that's yeah, that brings back some memories. And the what you do there is you don't give yourself an option, and that's what I learned. It's not a case of waking up and saying, "Shall I get up now and go swimming, early morning swimming before work?" It was a case of telling yourself before the night before you pack the bag and you say, I am going swimming tomorrow morning. So when you wake up, there is no decision, there's no questions. You get up, you go. And that's it, like a robot. You go into a robotic mode, it's a routine, it's a habit, that's just what you do. When I felt like quitting was when I got beaten. So this is probably 2012, did the European, I'm world champion, and went to the European Championships and I got beaten by an Italian who beat me by a lot, 4 minutes, which is massive. Couldn't even see him in front. I finished the race. I did my best. So no regrets there. I was in so much pain. I'm always in a lot of pain after running. So I'm limping. I'm in pain. I didn't win. And I'm thinking, well, the World Championships are in 6 months' time. There's no way I can get 4 minutes quicker in that much time. So what's the point? Okay, I can go for silver medal or bronze medal. That's what my goal would be. But in a way, that's like quitting, not going for the gold medal. But then I took a step back and I realized what I was doing. What I was leaning on my excuses. And what I needed to do was change my excuses into challenges. So what that means was I needed to get 4 minutes quicker in 6 months, which is really difficult. But that was my goal. That was my challenge. So I needed to think about my endurance, my speed, my stamina, my strength. But I also had to start thinking about my wellness as well. And this really blends into what a lot of people don't realize. They think it is about just like slogging it out and not giving in and working hard and doing late nights and not giving in and pushing yourself that extra mile and that extra time and not giving in and picking yourself up. And that's all very important, don't get me wrong. But what I realized was some of my friends weren't getting to the start line. And I was like, where's George and where's Francis? And they said, oh, George and Francis, they're injured. And I felt really sorry for them that I knew how important it was to get to that race, to get to that event, and they weren't even at the start line. And I suddenly realized that no matter how fit and healthy I am, I need to make sure that I can get to the start line. I need to make sure that I do not get injured. And so that's the whole injury concept, injury prevention concept. So that is the boring stuff, the warming up, the warming down, the taking a day off, the thinking about your mindset, physical, mental health, so that I could be getting to that every single start line. Now, how does this relate to your listeners here? They might not want to be world championships, but they want to do the thing that they love, whether that's their job or their hobby or their love life or their relationship or their environment. They really want to do that thing. They want to achieve. They've got something they want to achieve. You have to look after yourself. You can't burn the candle at both ends. You can for a little bit, but eventually it will catch up with you. And so you do need to look after your wellness, your mental health, and your physical health. This is what I learned as an elite athlete. This is what I do now in my business, making sure I get the balance right. And I still get it wrong sometimes. I am fit, I am healthy, but mentally, recently, I've not been sharing. I've not been talking to people enough. And that's quite a simple thing to do, but I've not been doing that. I've been going out for a walk and going out for a run and going down to the gym and thinking, well, that's it. That's the wellness thing ticked off. And it's not. I've been getting lots of sleep. But if I've just been bottling things up and not sharing them, then that's not good enough. When we talk about the sharing, I talk about the sharing on the road with resilience. I'm not doing it, but I'm learning from it. So it's always about checking in with yourself about what more can you do to make sure that everything goes smoothly, that you're doing all the things, you're getting to your start line, and your mental and physical health are there. Your wellness, it's so important. So, that's the time that I've felt like quitting, but now pick myself up. And in business, again, similar. When I'm not getting the emails coming back, I'm not getting the responses, I'm not getting the speaking gigs that I thought I would get. I am comparing myself to others who've been doing it for 20 years and I've only been doing it for 8 years. That's not fair with me. I shouldn't compare to them, but you do. And I take a step back. I think, right, I need to think about myself. I need to pick myself up. I'm not going to give in because I love doing my job. It is difficult. Running your own business is always difficult. People don't always see that side of it because we don't talk about it. We always talk about the good stuff. So I guess there's a few examples of how I have been knocked down and how I've got myself back up again.
It's so what you were talking about just now, it's a way of when you were saying, having your own business or having your own, your own goal, your own, wherever you want to take it yourself. And we all think that you need to be on the ball every day, on the go every day, positive every day. You see the list goes on of what every day you
Yeah.
think you should be. And you were talking about recovery,
Yeah.
and obviously this is just the example you used was about physical injury and things like that. But if you're doing everything every day, you're putting yourself at risk for injury. And but it can relate into so many different aspects of life. If you're doing too much of the said thing, you are going to burn out. And okay, everyone burns a candles at each end occasionally. Some people do it more than often. Some people probably don't do it that much at all. But you're a human being at the end of the day, and you need to look after yourself at the end of the day. I know some people have family, some people have kids, and obviously those are a priority. But you're still a human being at the end of the day, and you have to look after yourself. And the things that you want the most in life, 100% you go after them. But some days you can take a break. You can take a rest day. Even if it's sharing, a lot of people don't like to share. They don't like to, they bottle a lot of things up and they just don't like to share for a lot of different reasons. I think some people also just forget. They almost forget that actually they can talk about whatever they're going through as well. And again, if you bottle everything up inside, it can be sometimes that really tiny little moment, that cherry on the top that kind of throws you over the edge. And it's not that thing that threw you over the edge, it's everything else that built up to
Yeah.
it. But it's
Yeah.
that thing, that final thing that tipped you over, and you're like, but I know it's not that thing. But all you can think about is that thing in inverted commas. But it's the list of things that you bottled up to get you there. And sharing, I know it's part of the way, is so important as well.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It can be like you get a speeding fine that comes through and that just like flips you over. It's the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
Just those tiny little things. You can't get the jar open, or have you ever walked past the door? This is a funny thing. So sometimes you can walk past the door and the door handle catches your jumper and it pulls you back. And sometimes you can go, oh, whoopsie daisy, that was annoying, and you just carry on. And other days, oh my gosh, it's like hell on earth. It's like the worst thing ever. You just feel like killing somebody or smashing the door up. And you just see, I realize that now, and I just think, Steve, are you okay? Because it's just a door handle, and this happened like 2 weeks ago, and you were fine about it. So what's going on? Do we need to talk about it? And that's how a lot of people, don't do things or do things about realizing where you are and how you're coping with those things. We all have technical problems with our phones or computers,
Yeah.
and sometimes you can deal with it, and other times you just like it's the end of the earth, and that's because there's other things going on. And it's about realizing that and then doing something about it, about taking action, digging down deeper to what is going on. Do I need to talk to somebody about, what's going on? And like we are saying earlier, this is something that I need to do better at. And I think maybe there's a lot of people out there that do need to do that, but I need to lead by example. So watch this space.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really funny you said about the door handle, because I've seen it on social media. I think it's social media. I've seen it quite a bit actually. Maybe it's my algorithm where and I have seen it a few times where people make a joke and they say it always seems to happen on your bad days that your jumper catches the door handle. And I was like, it's so right.
Yeah.
I know some days it doesn't, but yeah, it really does on those days. But maybe it is, maybe it catches it because it's a reason for you to look deeper and be like, okay, I know it's not the door handle I'm angry at. What else is really going on inside? And sometimes it really is just the door handle that pushes us over the edge, can make us come out in so many different emotions depending on how you release emotions. And yeah, then you start to look into yourselves and then you start to look deeper. And then obviously after everything that you've now achieved, and obviously where we are at 2012,
Yeah.
what else kind of from 2012 on to where we are now? I was about to say 2023, but we're not. We're in 2024. What's been going on since then?
So it got to a point where I retired from international competition. There was a chance of me going to the Paralympics 2016, and I made the decision that it just wasn't my goal. It just, and I always say that when you choose your goal, when I say goal, I call it a gold, as in an acronym for GOLD, your goal, your opportunity, your love, your dream. What is your goal? What is that thing that you really want, that thing that you're passionate about? If you're not really passionate about it, if you have to if you hesitate and go, I think it's too late, that's clearly not it. It's gonna be something that you just speaks from your heart, from your gut. The Paralympics, I just thought another 4 years of hard training and going through the pain, and with a slim possibility chance of maybe possibly getting to the Paralympics. and then compete. I said, I'm not up for that. There's other things that I want to do in my life. And so that's what I went to do. One of the first things I did was go back to scouting. I'm a big advocate in scouting. So I'm a Cub Scout leader, but I'm also the president of Derbyshire Scouts. So giving back to the new generation is really important to me. I've got a big connection with scouting. My first 3 badges that I ever got, the badges that you can get in scouting, my first 3 badges that I ever got, I have a photo of this, was swimming, cycling, and running. So the fact that I did those as a young kid and became a world champion, it's a lovely message that I share. The other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to help people because it really frustrates me. Frustrate seems to be quite a strong word, but it does frustrate me, people that are going through their lives and they're not achieving. They're not doing the things that they want. They all talk. They say, yeah, I say, how's work? And they, work's work, isn't it? It's so. And how's your relationship? Oh, it could be better, I guess. How's your health? I could be a bit fitter. And they're saying all these things that they kind of want to be better at, but they're not doing anything about it. And I want to help those people if they want it. If they don't, then that's fine, and they can move on. But it's the people that say that they want to be better than they are. They want to achieve, and they don't know how to. And I'm like, I know how to. I've done it. I've done it in rehabilitation. I've done it as an athlete. I'm now doing it in business. And so what I do is I share my journey as a global speaker, standing on the stage. The point of that is that I've learned a lot. And if people hear my story, they're inspired, they're motivated, they're empowered, and that's great. I've done all of that because I had a life-changing experience way back in 2002, near fatal car accident. I don't want anybody to go through what I've been through. They do not need to go through what I've been through if I can tell my story in the best way possible, getting it across with the emotions, the highs and the lows, and the learnings and the takeaways and the quotes. If I tell that in the best way, memorable, then that will make a change. I call myself an achievement catalyst because once I hear my story, my performance, then they leave that room going, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to make a difference to my life. And I think, good, you're going to take action. If they're not saying that, then I've done something wrong and I need to be a better speaker. So that's my theory, and that's what I'm working towards. So speaking is one thing I do. I also run workshops. I also do one-to-one coaching as well. And that could be public speaking coaching, but it also could be transformational coaching or even resilience coaching, helping people to go through that. And that's where my mission is, empowering people to achieve the life that they want to live. And again, I'm always asking myself, what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? Being here in this podcast is one thing that I'm doing. I've written 2 books. My first book was my autobiography, Don't Lean on Your Excuses. My second book, more of a business book, was Gold. And then at the moment, I'm having a documentary made about me, but we're also in talks. We've got the script of a screenplay of a film, a short film, which is going to be 15 minutes long. Have I got that here? I think it's over here somewhere. And then when that's successful, which it will be, I'm sure, then a feature-length film where Hollywood get involved and stuff like that. So it's always nice to have a dream. So again, I always think about how I can get the message out there to the masses. And, that's it at the moment. So lots of things, lots of projects on the go at the moment. I love it. It's great.
It's amazing everything you're doing, and all the different outlets that you're doing it in, because so many people have different ways that they like to, they understand and they hear messages, whether it's books, whether it's podcasts, whether it's films, television, and music as well. There's so many different ways that people grab onto messages, and sometimes all they need is that one tiny little message, that one, it could even be a word, it could even be a sentence. All you sometimes need is that one tiny little thing which just sparks something inside you. And if you have that spark, you're about to, if you want to, of course, because I think you've said as well, you've got 2 options. You either don't want to change, or you don't want help, or you don't want to accept, or whatever. If you don't want to go through it and you're happy to just stay, you might not be happy, but obviously sometimes it is easier to just stay. Or if you feel that spark and you have that, ignition inside you, you think, okay, I can feel it.
Mm.
Now I really should try. Now I can really see what I can do. Now I can really go. And you mentioned something about opportunities and hesitation. And when an opportunity presents itself to you, it doesn't matter what opportunity it might be, but when an opportunity presents itself to you, you're very aware it's an opportunity because
Yeah.
you've probably never had it before. You've got 2 options. You've got an option to grab it by both hands, like you said, or to not at all. If you hesitate, the opportunity can go by like that. It
Yeah.
can go by in a second if you hesitate. It can also go by if you have one arm in, one arm out. because you're not really, I think you said, you're not really sure. You kind of want it, but you
Yeah.
kind of don't. You're not sure. And if you do that, you got one in, one out. Again, the opportunity is going to go past you. The thing is we are all terrified pretty much when an opportunity presents itself, because it's like, oh, wow, I have never been in this situation before. But I think just grab it
Mm,
by both hands, like you said, and then you can work through the fear and work through everything that comes with it.
yeah.
But honestly, if you don't grab that opportunity as soon as it presents itself, believe me, it's going to go to somebody else.
It will do. Yeah, yeah, well said. I think that's the thing. There are opportunities out there all the time, and you do have to grab it very quickly. And also, if somebody's offering you that opportunity and you hesitate, you say no, they go, "That's fine," and they will probably never go back to you. They will go to find somebody else, and their next time they got an opportunity, they, "Oh, Steve Judge, he said no last time." He'd probably say no again, which is really harsh. You think, no, no, it's just because something was on at that tough. You've missed that boat. Not always. Sometimes they might come back to you. You have to justify it though. But yeah, if you let those opportunities go, the ones that you really want, then shame on you. You need to grab it as soon as you can.
But it goes down to our excuses.
Mm,
And, you were saying before, it goes down to
yeah,
our excuses. Again, fear is one of them, but it goes down to our excuses. We might go, oh, I'm too tired, or I'm too busy. Oh, I've got something else on, or whatever it might be. But then you either don't want it enough, or you're too scared. But again, that's so normal, because as we do, and this relates again when we were talking about the wave at the very beginning, you said, and what I love the most is you said that as we go through the wave, we actually can come out of each wave higher than we were before. And it's a
yeah,
continuous cycle in life. You do keep getting higher and higher and higher as you go through wave after wave, or cycle after cycle, mountain after mountain. You do keep getting higher. And I saw something ages ago, and I love it to this day. It said, new level, new devil. Every time you level up, you come across something new, which is going to trigger you, going to, terrify you, is going to make you feel a certain way. But it's a new devil that you need to get through to level up to the next thing. And it's a continuous cycle of just getting higher and higher and higher.
yeah. I'm just writing that down. It's a good one. That new level.
I know, I saw you grab your pen and
Yeah.
paper.
And I kind of like it's so annoying, but you're right because it is. And the point of the wave of the resilience and going to the next level is that sometimes adversity happens or change happens or things like the pandemic happens and things like that. And other times nothing happens and you have to make it happen. What I'm saying there is you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. You have to take that opportunity that you're hesitating about. You just got to go for it. And that's where the devil is there. And you could just go, well, that's crazy. I'm making my life hard. Why would I do that? Why? Because you'll end up higher. And the only way you're going to get there, because there's a lot of people that flatline through life. They're happy where they are. They're content. They say they are. They're happy and content, and they just flatline. And it's like, okay, if you're happy there, then that's fine. In that job, and that relationship, and that house, and that car that you've got, and that money that you've got coming. If you're okay flatlining, fine. I'm not. I'm not. I want to get higher and higher, and it is about new level, new devil, going for that higher, stage, and the challenges that comes with it. And it's just like I roll my eyes because it's draining. You just think, why? Sometimes I'm always putting people off. Why? Why am I doing this? Why am I pushing myself out of my comfort zone? Because when you get to that next level, oh my goodness, the endorphin release, the adrenaline, the feeling that you get, the accomplishment, the achievement, the satisfaction that you get, the celebration that you do, it's really, really amazing. And it does mean that when you get to the end of your days, you do look back and you go, wow, I've achieved so much. I look at my life now about what I've achieved, whether it's growing the leg or the gold medals, the trophies, or becoming an author, potentially a film. I'm just thinking, wow, what else? It's exciting. And it's so nice to think, what else can I achieve before the end of my days? Not that I'm always thinking about dying, don't get me wrong, but I just want to cram in as much as I can every single day.
And it then also comes into reflection. You get to the end of the day, or you get to the end of each chapter of your life, or each level in your life. And when you have got to that stage where you might have leveled up, sometimes it just happens within a moment. You don't even feel the difference. You just suddenly sit back, and you can be triggered by something, or something can happen where, you know, you can look at it in a different way or a different perspective, or you can maybe not feel so, however you might have felt, or so triggered by something, the same way.
Yeah.
And you can look back, and that's what I'm saying about when you do get to a new level, is you still come across the same problems sometimes. You still come across the same things. You still come across the same whatever it might be. But it's how you then look at the something and how you react to the thing and how you are triggered by the thing. And that's when you can see when you have maybe leveled up each time, is you can sit back and you can say, wow, you know, me of yesterday or me of last year or me of 2 years ago would have reacted very differently. You might not be at the perfect place where you want to be right now in that reaction, but you can look back and think, but you know what? Something inside me is different to how I would have been yesterday doing this or how I would have been last week. So you can see that is you leveling up as
Mm.
you are faced with different things every time.
I totally agree with you, Talia. And I think that's the thing. It's about what you like. You were talking about emotions earlier, that they're not negative or positive. It's about how you deal with it. It's about how you deal with lots of things. And I think that takes practice. I'm really good at resilience now because I've been practicing it for the last like 20 odd years. But it's about practicing on the small things. When you do get your jumper caught on the door handle, when you do stub your toe, you will still go through the wave of resilience, the anger, the denial, the rock bottom, and then taking action and then moving forward. So practice it on the small things. When you can't find your phone, when you can't find your keys and you're getting angry about it, think about, oh, okay, I'm going through that wave of resilience, can't find my flipping phone. Because when something serious happens, that's when it all comes to a head. And that's when you do need this tool that you've now got, this resilience tool that you can get better at because you've been practicing it. You can actually use it, for the big things as well. And that's when it becomes really important. Same with your emotions. Something negative might happen. I might call it negative, and I go, "This is negative. I'm really miffed about this, but I'm not going to stay angry about it too long. I'm just going to sulk for a little bit. I'll just, maybe an hour or so, and then I'm going to talk to myself. Are we still sulking about that thing? I go, yeah, I am, because I'm really angry about it. So I'll give it 2 hours, and then I say, right, nobody else in the world is sulking. It's just me. So I need to like crack on now, accept the situation, and move forward. And it's about making that decision. I think a lot of things in life, nearly 100%, are choices. You have choices. Now, sometimes it's very hard to make those choices because our emotions kick in and things like, because we're human beings. But after a while, once the dust has settled, it's a choice. It's a choice how you react. It's a choice how you deal with it. It's a choice to make things so that they never ever happen again, or next time they do happen, you're more prepared. It's about, getting to that start line. What can you do? It's a choice. And things will get in your way. There will be barriers and there will be obstacles, but you're going to make sure you see those as excuses and not lean on your excuses, but instead turn your excuses into challenges. That's a choice. And it's about individuals making that choice and moving themselves forward on that thing that they really want to achieve.
I 100% agree. And it's a choice when you said it's taken something like 20 years of practice. It's not, whatever it might be, it's not going to get better in a day. It's not going to get better in an hour. It's not going to get better after one therapy session. It's not going to get better just like that. It takes days and weeks and months and years of work, whatever it might be. It can take a very long time. And that actually goes back to, well, when do you give up? Just try not to, because it doesn't happen overnight. And that comes for anything, whether it's something to do with mental health, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job. It's not going to happen overnight. It is going to take a while. Some things might take shorter, some things might be longer, but it doesn't happen overnight. And it's a choice. Again, you wake up every day, and even if you're on this journey where you might not see anything changing, it's a choice. Like you were saying, it's still a choice every day to think, well, you know what, I'm going to keep working towards the goal, or to bettering myself, or to whatever it might be, because the more that you work on it, the harder you're working on it. And I think also just being so patient with yourself, and also being so kind to yourself, because can be a really dark and really hard journey. And you have to be kind to yourself, because you put yourself through things which you've never done before. Places you've never been before. Even if it's physically in the same place, you can be a very different person to the person you were last month, last year.
Yeah.
But you might be in the same situation, but a different person. If you are the same person, but there's things inside you that are different. And if you react to whatever it might be in a specific way, which you might get angry at yourself about, or anxious about yourself, or whatever it might be, upset, just be kind and patient to yourself, because you've actually never been this person in this exact second, in this exact moment, ever,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
You are constantly evolving and changing every day and every second, through every interaction as well. So you've never been where you are right now, even if you think you have, even if it's the same email that's come through from your boss or the same person you're talking to that you talk to every day. That might be the same, but you've never actually been you in this exact time. And
Yeah,
that's why I think you have to be so patient and so kind to yourself as well.
absolutely. Yeah, so important. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. So then before we do wrap up, I want to ask you then. I know it's a big question and I never want to say what's one piece of advice because no one can ever just give one. And it's a big thing to ask for one. But just an overall summary, let's say, of advice of what if someone came to you and they were at, the dark space, they were at the beginning, maybe even rock bottom, and they just are like, I don't know, really know what to do. I'm just going to go sit in bed for the next however long. And I don't really want to do this. I've got dreams, but I give up. Whatever it might be. Again, I know it's a lot of different circumstances, but what is something that you would say to them? Because I know a lot of people are there.
Okay, so first of all, they're in the dark place, the rock bottom. I'd say just stay there for a bit. There's nothing wrong with being there, but just talk to yourself. Talk to yourself about how long you're going to stay there. Like I said earlier, nobody else is sulking, nobody else is in that dark place. How long are you going to stay there for? Because at the end of the day, it's them that's going to have to take action. If somebody tells them to pull themselves together, might help with some people. A lot of people will just like rebel and things like that. So just go to bed, watch a bit of telly, eat a bit of chocolate cake, whatever it takes. But just talk to yourself, how much television, bed, chocolate are you going to do before you're going to take some action? When you're ready, when you're ready to take action, then just think about the positive. And what I mean by that, for me, it would be thinking about I always like, I've got these 5 principles. And the first one is having a golden vision. So what do you want? What is your goal? Your goal, your opportunity, your love, and your dream. And it might be a case of doing like a business plan or talking about, all of this. For me, it's about drawing a picture. That's all I did. When I was in hospital, I drew a picture about, standing and again and walking again. I drew a picture about me becoming an elite athlete. I drew a picture about me on the main stage as a global speaker. I have a vision board here. I've got my little notebook here with pictures and stuff like that. I just draw pictures of what I want to achieve. Just draw a picture. You can do that. Stick people. Don't say you can't draw. Don't lean on your excuses. And that's your vision. Now you can start taking it further from there, as in like, why do you want that vision? What do you need to do to achieve that vision? Who's in your golden gang to help you achieve that vision? When are you going to achieve that vision by? But let's just go back to basics because that person's in a dark place. Just draw a picture of what you want. And I guess, and I think that's quite easy because you generally should draw a picture of you alive, big smiley face. What makes you happy? Is it a holiday? Is it the sun? Is it money coming in? Who are you with? Have you got a car? Have you got a house? Have you got a job that you like? What's the job that you like? Have you got a pet? Draw the pet. Just draw the things around you that make you happy. And that's it. And then focus on that. So that would be my simple advice, but then I'd take it a lot further with my coaching sessions from one step to the other.
No, amazing. Thank you. And then if anybody does want to get in touch with you or find you, where can they and how can they?
Oh, it's dead easy. I'm everywhere. So I have a website, www.steve-judge.co.uk. I'm all over social media. Don't lean on your excuses if you want to get in contact. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram. It's all there. Even got YouTube. So please, I want to help people. So if you've got a question or you've got a query or you just want to get in contact, please connect with me, contact me, ask me the questions, and I will help you to the best of my ability. It'll make me very happy. I'm sure it'll make you happy as well. So please don't be afraid to reach out. I'd love that.
Thank you very much. And just before we do end, I do want to add that you're right. If you are at rock bottom or you are in a dark place, it's okay to stay there. It for not forever, but it is okay to stay there for a little bit. I've done it. I know a lot of people that have done it. It is okay to stay there, but there does come a point when you have to go, right. Okay, I can't stay here, for very much longer, and I can't stay here forever. But again, that's why it's good to be patient and kind to yourself, because if you're there, you know what? It's okay to stay there just for a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad we agree on that. It's very important. Well, it's
Yeah.
been lovely talking to you today, Talia, and I hope your audience have enjoyed it as well.
Thank you very much.
One of my favourite messages from today is that every time we battle ourselves and begin a new wave of resilience, eventually, each time, we come out that little bit higher, that little bit lighter, and that little bit stronger than before. Steve got back up not by leaning on his excuses, but by turning them into challenges. Because everything we think is drowning us is instead teaching us how to swim. So until next time, remember, you have the power inside you. We all do. You have the power to get back up.